Well, all right. Here we are again, hump day. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. A little early.
A little early. Tired, boss.
He tired, boss.
Boss, he tired. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, y'all? Hey. Time to wake up. Get your body moving. Oh, there he is. Pops in the house.
Hey.
What's happening? Good morning. He said, good Wednesday morning. First Sky crew and fan. Mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops.
From Vegas with love.
We've been missing you. They've been asking about you. I said, where's Pops?
Man.
I said, don't worry. He'll be here for Women's Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Women.
I have been delivered.
Good morning. We're going to find that video. I'm going to find that video.
I don't like mans no more.
Oh, what are we going to do with you? Hola, Carolyn Jack. What's going on, Miss Purple? What's happening with you?
Hey.
Got a good morning from Miss Erica Felt up early. How you doing this morning? Good morning. Hope you're taking it easy over there.
Yeah, take it easy.
Christy Nora gives us a good morning. What's happening with you? Good morning to you.
Big shout out to everybody that tapped in with us yesterday, man, for the special edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
Yeah.
Talk about the bombshell from our partners over at Flatwater and the Reader. If you haven't checked it out already, go ahead and do yourself a favor and check out that article, man.
Most definitely. What's going on, Brother Valentine? Morning, fam. What's happening with you?
Peace.
My threw ourselves off with that day. I woke up like, oh, this is
yeah.
Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, no.
Nope.
Definitely felt like a little Friday Junior coming in this morning.
There you go. Brooke Allen says, good morning. Miss Erica Felt says, balding, but gonna make it beautiful. Daggett. I heard that.
Hey, own it.
It's the era of the wigs. You know, it's common thing these days.
Man.
20-year-olds just going out to the club with the wig on these days.
Get your lace front, get them baby hairs popping.
There you go. That's what's up.
Is it?
I mean, you know, the technology, man. Technology's so good. You just hardly can't tell anymore what's going on.
Actually, I know, following the bag is the theme. I know a couple cats who like have their own wig shops. Seems like a pretty lucrative business, man. You get into some of the prices some of these women be dropping on these wigs.
And if you happen to be in a town where Michelle Trostler lives, then you making all kinds of money. She love a wig. She just likes to play with them. That's what's up. Yeah, man. That's what's up. Appreciate everybody that's jumping into the chat this morning. Let me go check over here on Friends of First Sky and see if anybody's over there.
Yeah, I see Miss Erica Phelps talking to Miss Medicine Song, but I don't see her in the chat.
I don't see her in the chat. That's what made me think about it. Let me see what's happening. Shout out to the 630 crew, by the way. I hope the mix is good for you this morning. If you want to hear some good music, a celebration of black music, go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the listen button, or if you have an Amazon unit over there, you can say, Alexa, play First Sky Omaha Radio, and we'll pop on up. We got Brother Valentine says, you know it's going to be a good show when you log on and the first thing you hear is everybody laughing. Yeah,
okay.
Man.
It's a good omen.
Trying to bring a little positivity to
a little light to your life.
It's hump day, so I don't know what y'all how y'all feeling.
Hump
day. If you're over on Facebook, do us a favor, share the show. Got a lot going on today. Of course, this is Women's Wednesday, so we're gonna have Precious McKesson in the house, politicking with P.
History making P. Put some respect on it.
Put some respect on her name. And Kimara Snipes put some respect on her name as well. We'll be seeing what's good in the hood. So that's what's up. And yeah, we'll see what's going on. Most def. Again, looks like I'm not seeing everybody's comments in the comment. So Miss Erica felt you might have to give them a little class on a little tutorial on how to make sure everybody gets seen in the chat here.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. Linda in Chicago says Wednesday got here fast. Do you feel like it? I feel like I said, it feels like Thursday to me.
I'm here right with you.
Thursday.
This whole year is just, that's why we say, do you believe in the concept? Can you believe it's October 19th, man?
Oh man, you just reminded me. I had a dream early this morning that the time changed, and everything, and every minute was an hour, and so every hour was a day. So I even woke up looking at the clock, like it's 5 o'clock in the morning, but I got a whole nother day before I got to get up. Like really threw me off time wise. I was in the time warp continuum
in the Twilight Zone. So does that mean that time sped up? You said an hour was a day, so it slowed down.
Yeah, I actually got up late because of.
Really, that's interesting. Definitely feels like it's speeding up. Yeah,
it was speeding up and slowing down during the whole dream. It was speeding up and slowing down. I had to kept recontextualizing what time was so that I can get up at the right time. That was happening in like the last 2 hours of me sleeping this morning.
You kind of just took me down the rabbit hole. I'm not even gonna lie, man. Like you just made me think of like your concept of quickening and like, yeah, you just took me down the right. It has nothing to do with anything we're going to talk about on this show, anything we ever really talk about on this show. I don't even know if the listeners like are even interested in the thought that I just had, but it's all about quickening, raising vibrations, and actually like your cells actually speeding up. And I wonder how that affects our perception of time. Got to raise the vibrations, yo.
Man, I mean,
yeah, I don't want to go there, but that's just where you took me.
I mean, we could talk about it. I definitely would like to hear more about that. In small bits.
Yeah. I mean, we can get philosophical. I mean, that's
This is true. If you guys want to know what kind of stuff we talk about when we're not on the show, that's it. That's
pretty much it. Yeah.
We've been in outer space. What's going on? Miss Arafel says Groundhog Day. Yeah, exactly.
Is it Groundhog Day?
No, I'm just saying like that repeating the day.
Oh.
Concept. Yeah, like the movie Groundhog Day. Stacey G says, "Good morning, First Sky Omaha family friends. Good morning to you. Appreciate you very much, very much so." The other things that there is going on out there that we don't talk about is, and that we might have to coming up is, brother Kanye.
Yeah, man, we kind of had a nice little text conversation about it last night. I did watch the interview. I see they're trying to scrub it.
I can't do it, man. I have a hard time watching spectacle. I have a hard time watching people be uncomfortable and
it was
uncomfortable things.
It was cringy. It was definitely some cringy moments, but I had to hear the man out and hear what he said before I allow the internet to form my opinion and cancel him out. And you might disagree with the delivery, but what he said, we could talk about it.
I mean, we might end up having to because it's going on and on. Like he's getting it's going on and on. So we might have to.
I think there's some cultural significance to it too.
So here's where I stand. I stand on this idea that Brother Muhammad taught me here in the chat, the chat chimer. We don't throw nobody away. We don't throw our brothers away.
No, man.
So I'm not gonna let the internet shape what I have to. I'm not gonna let the internet shape nothing until I go ahead and listen to it for myself. But until I'm ready to listen to it, I'm not throwing this brother away. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and I can appreciate that. I mean, you got to be in the proper headspace to be open enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely what Kanye, is going on, and going through. And I say,
let's put it to the chat too. Anybody in the chat chimers, anybody in the ghost listeners, is this something that you think we need to discuss? I saw an article in the Griot that talked about is it weighing on the black community on black identity to keep on dealing with Kanye?
Man,
you
kind of nailed it on the head. Why I feel like this is a culturally significant show, because that's what he was talking about. That's what he was talking about, and he's been labeled as anti-Semitic, but can he really be anti-Semitic? What is Semitic? What is black? What is white? What are these terms that we just throw around so loosely? And there's a general colloquial meaning of it. We understand how it's used, but what are these words actually meaning? And that's kind of where my ideology, and where my mind is, what he's talking about, what he's saying. But again, is anybody out there, have you caught wind of this Kanye thing? Do you care? Or do you have any information, any idea what we're even talking about? Drop that into the chat. But for me, this is, if you don't know, you maybe should look into it because it is culturally significant. And actually, there's a story that we'll talk about, which deals with voting, which is why I love this show, because the conversation is the conversation, and you can really find a segue or a link, to the whole thing. But redistricting, there's a story that we'll get into a little later on, talking about who is black. How do when they redistrict and they go through voter rolls, who is black? We're talking about reparations in California. Who is black? What is black? What is white? Again, these are conversations that we need to start having to clear up some misconceptions and some illusions that we've been living through.
Very, very true. It is 7:11 already, right here.
We already got started.
If you believe in the concept of time, right?
Oh man.
Just to center everybody, we did have an impromptu jump in yesterday because there was some news that came to our attention that the reader in Flatwater Free Press broke about a situation in the sheriff's race, and something that happened with the sheriff, some use of force, some disciplinary action that was supposed to happen, didn't happen, some cover-ups, so on and so forth. Go back and watch that show if you want to get some more detail on that. What we were told yesterday was that they were now the police department is looking into criminal allegations that the footage that was obtained by the reader in Flatwater Free Press was stolen. And so I've been looking around to see if there was any articles on it. Hadn't seen anything yet, but there was a person on Twitter that is a reporter that reported that the law enforcement is looking into the theft of this material that proved the story, that proves the case. So here we are, the reader and Flatwater Free Press under fire. Now you're going to be looked at criminally. There is an investigation open, according to this Twitter reporter. So we'll see what's going on. Miss Erica Fell says, I gained new respect for Chris Bowen yesterday. Very professional. The baby boy got down. That's what's up.
Man. No, I definitely think this article is I don't know if I want to go say like masterclass, but it definitely is an expose and objective reporting.
And the other thing I like about it too is baby boy is young, and there were some things he wanted to make sure that he got right. So he went to some mentors. He went to another entity, and they worked on it together. And it was it was just a great. To me, it was a masterclass in that kind of reporting and collaboration for sure. So
I'm expecting an award for that article, actually. Like the way it's pretty objective. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, we'll see what comes out of it, but there's other things we're going to talk about today, and of course, like we said, we do have Precious McKesson coming on, and definitely want to talk to her about what's happening. We can't lose sight of the fact that it's time to vote right now, and that date is coming up. So there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about here, and remind everybody about as well, and remind ourselves about. Man, get out here and get busy. What else we got on the docket for today?
Yeah, we do have several things to discuss besides getting into a few things with our guests. I definitely want to dive into the CHI ransomware attack. I've been trying to figure out, I feel like there's more to it. I've been trying to do some research, and I would love to bring this conversation to the people. If you don't know, again, CHI Health had a ransomware attack to where their electronic system was down for quite some time, and it had real life implications. Actually, it hit home, man. Mama God has some issues that I'll talk about a little later on, but yeah, definitely would love to dive into this situation. They did announce that they are getting those systems back up, so that's good news. Also, speaking of getting systems up, it looks like Google Fiber is trying to set up shop in Omaha. Again, if you remember the conversation we had surrounding internet and how hard it is to get good internet and the impact that might have on just the quality of life. And the two big dogs in the city, CenturyLink and Cox, have really been running the game and have a stronghold on it. And now Google Fiber is coming into the city, and there's some pushback. So we'll definitely talk about that coming up. I definitely would love to hear your thoughts on this one, Paul. I know you have some interesting insights and ideas about the internet situation here in Omaha. But also, again, Paul did mention there is election season upon us. I believe just about 2 weeks until election day. But of course, you can vote early now, so definitely keep that in mind. But we'll definitely dive into some of the issues around the state. A few lawmakers chiming up, continuing our conversation on prisons, again, continuing to hold Nebraska prisons accountable. This time they're being called out for failing to comply with certain mandates. So again, we'll dive into another mishap with Nebraska state prisons. Also, speaking of mishaps, it looks like the Republican senators of Nebraska are now still attacking and running their playbook for the Nebraska Department of Education. There's something going on with education in Nebraska, and we're definitely going to talk about that situation. Even made the John Oliver. Is it John Oliver? Is that?
It's yeah, John Oliver is it's called Last Week Tonight is the HBO show that he's on.
Yeah. We made it show again. If you remember, he called out, I believe, Don Bacon. No, the Straight Outta Omaha show. The Straight Outta Omaha.
Straight Outta Omaha, right.
Yeah. Making news for all the wrong things. Again, this is First Sky Omaha in the morning. About 16 hours into the 16 minutes into the hour. See, Paul, you got me all messed up. If you believe in the concept, man, if you believe in the concept of time, let's go ahead and get the show on the road.
All right, let's roll. What up? Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers, all of you, the ghost listeners, thanks for getting up so early with us here on Wednesday, hump day. We got somebody gave us a woot Wednesday. That was Leia Keister a little earlier. That's what's up. Yeah, getting through the week for sure, and lots to talk about. Old Arsenio Hall show stuff.
Yeah.
In the chat, we said Linda in Chicago. We were talking about this story yesterday that we had to talk about with the Reader and Flatwater Free Press. She said not a mention of it in local television news. No surprise though. Very true. Pops is chiming in a little bit on this on some mental issues here, which is kind of my point. That's interesting that you're saying that, Pops. I'm saying the same thing. I think that somebody is clearly having mental issues, that you can't be too surprised at any of their actions or reactions. Two cases in point: Trump and Kanye. And my point about both of them is that you got some people that can't look at it, because they like me, who just I can't stand spectacle, man. And then you got people who gonna capitalize on the spectacle of it. So I think that that's what's happening with Kanye right now. But again, we'd like to put it in the chat. This is something that we've been shying away from talking about because it is spectacle and because it's not really relevant to us here in the community, but it's starting to be relevant in the Black community just in general. And so I find that the stuff that we start talking about behind the scenes ends up here on the show anyway. But I would like to hear from the chat chimers and from the friends of First Sky Omaha. Is Kanye something we need to be talking about? Let us know.
And I'm glad actually Pops brought in the Trump Kanye comparison because they have been, Trump. I mean, Kanye's wore the MAGA hat, which was just stirred up some things. Of course, recently the White Lives Matter hat, which stirred up some things. But in this latest interview that's causing the latest commotion, he's wearing a 2024 hat. And I'm getting the sense that he might actually be gearing up for a presidential run in 2024, which is something that we're constantly talking about. What is that going to look like? The Trump effect is he a part of that? So yeah, we might need to pay attention to this.
Yeah, there's a lot to it for sure. Also, I was thinking that was the reason why we haven't talked really too much about the situation with Trump and Mar-a-Lago and and then them going to get the records and the whole nine, because is it relevant right now? Is it spectacle that we try to stay away from spectacle here and get down to what we need to talk about?
Right,
But
right.
but sometimes that spectacle bleeds into the culture and what it is that we really, and the fact that we might need to. If you guys think it's important, that's what I really want to lay on there. If you think it's something that we do need to be talking about, let us know. We definitely talk about it in private. And so I gotta say that the stuff that we usually talk about in private usually comes up on the show. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, Raina Williams gives us a good morning. Also, Miss Erica Felt, Medicine Song, you have my phone. Oh yeah. If Medicine Song is in the chat, we're not seeing your messages. So sorry about that. There's a way that you got to log into the to the actual First Sky Omaha page in order to be seen. I'm not really sure. I know that there's been some issues with that before, so we apologize if we're not seeing your messages here. Marianne Williams says John Oliver covered the Jeff Fortenberry googly eyes story too. Funny. I mean, you got the eye on Omaha, man, over there
Man.
last week tonight. And you know what's funny? I love that name, Last Week Tonight. It's like it's a play on time too, really.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. If you believe in the concept.
Yeah. Miss Erica says a drunk man's word is a sober man's thought. He's saying what he's thinking. Talking about
Drunk man tells
Kanye.
no tales. Yeah.
Black Dynamite said, "Hey, top of the morning, fellas, and First Sky peoples. What's going on, Black Dynamite?
Hey.
Good to hear from
How
you,
you
my
doing? How
brother.
you doing?
Appreciate you coming on in. And we're going to jump into some stories. Like we said, we do
Yeah.
have a special guest coming in. Precious McKesson will be politicking with P, and then also Kimara Snipes will be seeing what's good in the hood. Put some respect on both their names. They should be in today, so we'll have some good conversations with them. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. She a little late. It's all good.
Hey.
It's
Good
all
morning.
good. One good thing
Grab a
about
seat.
this is if you miss any parts of the show, you can go back to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter and watch the show in its entirety. And when you do, please check out the chats, because that's where a lot of this conversation is happening. It's the most important part of the show is in the chat chimers box. So
Yes,
definitely go
indeed.
back and look at those. In the meantime, between time, buddy, what we got up first?
Well, we'll kick off today's conversation with the ransomware attack. Again, this is something that on the surface, like I don't really know about cyberware attacks and ransom attacks and things like that, but it definitely has a real life impact. And I'll just give a quick story. Mama God called me about a month or so ago.
Yeah.
And was telling me, she was struggling with finding insulin. She has diabetes, and her numbers can spike, her sugar, can drop at any moment. And she has a little bit of sweet tooth, so that doesn't help. But she struggled with finding insulin, and she was actually driving around like adamantly searching for insulin.
Oh wow.
And luckily she was able to find it, but she was like, it was getting down to like her last couple of insulin vials. Like it was getting kind of dangerous. And to find out, the system through which she usually orders her prescription and gets her insulin was through the CHI system, and she was not able to get that because of this ransomware attack. And I
Okay,
can only
so how long ago was that again?
I want to say about a month ago. It may have been sooner.
So the reason why this story is interesting to me is that we're reading today, that we talked about that. You, like you said, you had this personal thing that happened like a month ago where we got wind that something was up with CHI's computer stuff.
Right.
Just last week, they finally just admitted that there was an issue, and today the article is about they're finally getting the system back up.
Yeah,
So
man.
so think about how much they left the public out of any of the of any updates. You know what I'm saying? Like they drug this out.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see how long the system was actually down, because again, it didn't come to my attention until my mom's called me. But yeah, I mean, and this is a real life impact. I mean, people can't set up appointments. Like there's a lot of records that they can access and things like that. Get prescription. There's real life implications with this. But again, as you mentioned, CHI did announce just yesterday that the health system is in the process of restoring their electronic systems that were taken offline after the attack. As systems come back online, health system officials said in a statement that providers will be able to access again records that they were not able to access. Some systems, including patient access to My Chart portal, are expected to be available in the coming days as well. CHI announced earlier this month that it was dealing with an IT security incident. So there you go, Paul. It was about a month ago. They didn't necessarily say it was a ransomware attack, but they called it an IT security incident. that was impacting all of his facilities, including Lakeside, Creighton University, Bergen Mercy, and Emmanuel. Common Spirit Health, which is the parent organization of CHI in both Nebraska and Iowa, acknowledged that the incident was a ransomware attack. As to when the issue would be resolved, they said that for the parts of our health system that have been have seen impacts on operations, they say we are working diligently every day to bring systems online and restore full functionality as quickly and safely as possible. So again, there are real life implications. They are working. But yeah, as I'm looking at the chat, Brooke says, scary indeed, man. Scary indeed. Imagine, having to birth a child or something like that, and that impacts us, something that's like, we gotta go, emergency, and it's impacted.
Well, that's what Miss Erica Felt said. She says, "So thankful I'm a Methodist." Can you imagine the stuff that she's going through right now and having to deal with the computers being down on top of that? Christy Norris said it's been about a month. Erica Felt said, "So thankful I'm a Methodist." Brooks said that's the new direction in terrorism is cyber warfare against hospitals.
So that's okay. I'm glad she mentioned that. And Mama God's also in the chat. She says it was 2 weeks ago that she.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So so it was 2 weeks before this, and that's to your point about them kind of acknowledging and notifying people. So because they say about a month ago that they acknowledged that there was an IT incident, as they called it, and then my mom says about 2 weeks later she had this insulin situation. So Mom, did you get an email that about this incident? Did you get any notification about this incident that would have maybe gave you 2 weeks, to prepare?
Exactly. Miss Erica Fell says, I have one doctor who must be associated with them, has me using my chart, and I've used it fine just last week.
So,
I use my chart too. So
what is it?
It's like a portal. It's like a website that you can go to and check your doctor's appointments, check your progress. They provide a little information for you to be able to keep track of things. You can also pay your bill through it, all that type of thing. So everything's out there. It's all online. So it really is. If they want to attack you, that's all they got to do is attack that, because they've been working for years to get this hospital, this doctor to be able to talk to each other and all that. Too bad they didn't really put in place the kind of cybersecurities that like banks and financial institutions have and stuff like that. Like, so now they're suffering for it and we're trying to work through it, but it's a trip. Black Dynamite in the chat says, what does getting the system back up entail? Right. I had a friend tell me last night whose boyfriend works at CHI, and she said they are still doing a lot of paper charting. Maybe they had to go back to that because the system is falling. Mama Guy says, I completely ran out of insulin and it was dangerous. It was definitely happening in October. They could not fax. Bro,
Christy Norris says, the facts.
Christy Norris says, yes, they had to go old school on paper. It's been a nightmare for the nurses.
Man. Okay, yeah, so more insight.
Definitely some scary stuff, man. Yeah, definitely some scary stuff. I remember back in the late 90s, they were trying to put this system together where you would carry your own information from doctor to doctor. So because they were saying that they were predicting that when the network gets up, they were some people were trying to make a network happen so a doctor can just sit there at his computer and look and see what your medical history is from all the doctors that you ever been to. But that's all online. That's all. So they were predicting that if something happens where they get hacked, because you know how the 90s was, hacking was huge. Just so they were like, it was almost turned into something cool, like a sport, that she was a hacker back in the 90s. So everybody was trying to hack, and they were saying, well, if that happens to the hospital, then you're in trouble. So they were trying to have you walk around with this little card that electronically put all your stuff on. The doctor takes it when you come and all that. I mean, it sounds like they should have went that route.
You think so? I'm going. My mind is going to like Goody Mob, cell therapy, Give Goody. Yeah. Computer chips in my wrist, no more fishing for my fish. That's where my mind is going. But that might be a little far-fetched.
They got all your information out there on the web, and all that somebody got to do is hack.
Definitely.
That's what we're going through now.
I might be a little too young, but I do remember the Y2K scare. Is that what that was about?
The Y2K scare was about the fact that they had designed all these computer systems that were that with the wrong kind of date. So when the date changed over to 2000, it was going to wipe everything out. It was a big scare. It was going to wipe every computer was going to mess up and wipe out. It's funny that we talk about believing in the concept of time, because that's what that was about.
It's gonna stop.
It's like
time is gonna stop.
When time stops on the computers, we're all going to go into some kind of Armageddon. She said, no, that was just about it all crashing, right? It all coming down, right?
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, but I'm glad somebody mentioned about the direction of new terrorism, because on a serious note, this is not the first time that this has happened. So this is, it starts happening about 2-3 times. It's like, okay, this is a pattern. This is about something bigger. This isn't just an incident or a happenstance. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm trying to do some research. I've been trying to look into it. I'm seeing, reports of cyber attacks at other hospitals in other countries and things like that. But I'm not finding a common thread just yet. So, if anyone, am I tripping? Am I crazy? Are y'all saying the same thing? Is this possibly something bigger?
Yeah, it could be. Mama God says my chart was down. Glad that it is up. I have family members in another state in CHI system that was down also.
I'm saying,
I forget CHI ain't just Nebraska. It's all over. So if it's down, it's down.
Yeah, I think they got CHIs down here.
Yeah, well, like I said, struggling in a big way, struggling. But I think you're on to something. I think I have that same kind of gut feeling too about there's something else afoot. But whatever's going on in the background is affecting people in the foreground in a huge way.
Right.
And we got to try to figure out what we need to do about that, because well, first thing is to quit putting stuff off. I can say that as a black man in the black community, let's not put stuff off. If we know we need to go to the doctor about something, let's go ahead and get going. You know what I'm saying?
Done. Yeah, for sure.
It's going to take long. It'll sound like it might take longer than we think it's going to take when it's finally time to go down and handle it. So I don't know. They still talking about Y2K in the chat. Michelle says my mother was annoying at Y2K. She said pulled out her little cash and got lots of bottled water. It was one.
Again, I was young, so I don't really fully remember the moment, but I remember it being a moment.
It was one of them incidents, one of 100 incidents in my lifetime that everybody thought they had to go down and buy a bunch of toilet paper and water and pull the cash out. Brooks says, I remember walking into my uncle's house during Y2K and seeing cases of water to the ceiling. I actually was one of the crews that was trying to update the dates. Because that was the other thing that happened during Y2K, or right before Y2K. They were doing a bunch of temporary hiring for people to come in and code the computers up to the new year standards so that they didn't crash. And then we found out that was all bogus. Like it wasn't. They were going to crash anyway. So people were spending money, like hiring cats like us to go in and fix this thing that didn't need to be fixed. Linda, Chicago. Go ahead.
I think I'm gonna bring this back up, and we're gonna round back around to when we talk about the education conversation. But how does nonsense like that spread? Like, how do people buy into that kind of nonsense?
Because ignorance, man. You don't know, and so you depend on experts to tell you. And if we have a systems of reporting and stuff set up to where you're supposed to be trusting the reports, then why wouldn't you believe them? You know what I'm saying?
I'm a journalist, bro. I have a natural curiosity, so I don't know what you're saying. I understand.
But that's what I'm saying. Everybody's not a journalist. They don't treat it. They don't treat information the same. Everybody ain't got time to be a journalist, bro. Everybody ain't got time to investigate every single thing that there is to investigate.
Rat race.
We do
good old rat race.
We do this 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, so that we can dig into stuff, and we ain't digging into an eighth of what's going on in Omaha.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, is what it is. Anyways, let's move on. I just got a text, so Precious will be on here in a second. Let me go ahead and send her the link again. Miss Erica Fell said, I was more concerned about dancing to Prince in 1999. I heard that. I was just telling somebody about the Soul Aquarians era in 1999 and the 4 pillar albums like Water for Chocolate, Common, Erykah Badu's Baduism, the roots, things fall apart. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what we were into at that particular point in time, and we didn't even have computers at our house like that we were worried about crashing yet. So like,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
it's
think we
yeah,
got a computer in our house until like '01, '02.
yeah. Sissy Jean says I was on the contingency team for Y2K at the bank I worked at. I don't know why people thought their cars weren't going to start
I'm
up.
saying, I'm saying. Make it make sense, man.
That's
Make it make
hilarious.
sense.
That's hilarious. Pop says all systems can be brought down, including the financial system. So we need to be prepared, like having a little stash of everything at home. Y2K was not valid, but cyber attacks are real and happening millions of times per day. So
Agreed, and we just talked about this real life implications. So, yeah, I can see why somebody might be concerned about it, but when you really dig into it, let's just think about it. Let's think about it.
I mean, we're laughing about it now, but we was at
Like
the
I
store.
said, I remember it being a moment. I do remember it being a whole moment.
We was at the store cleaning out the shelves, bro.
Man. But while we get ready for our guests, let's actually move from Y2K to the internet real quick. Talk about this Cox situation. There is an agreement with Google Fiber and between the city of Omaha and Google Fiber that would allow the company to offer its high-speed internet service to residential and small business customers. But a provision in state law would limit the city's ability to generate revenue from the deal, which is causing some pushback, causing some flack. Lawmakers passed what's called the Small Wireless Facilities Deployment Act back in 2019 with the goal of encouraging the deployment or development of wireless communication networks across the state. The Act's language also prevents the city of Omaha from charging Google Fiber a gross revenue fee of 2%, an amount that was actually agreed upon between the city and the company. Councilperson Bernard Indenbosch, who's actually a deputy city attorney, says, "Believe me, I want to be able to say that we have the ability to charge a fee." But of course, after reviewing the language, Indenbosch concluded that the statute prohibits the city from collecting a tax fee or rate on Google Fiber's service, which is causing some issue with the big dog in town, Cox Communications, who's chiming in on the situation. Kim Rowell, who's a spokesperson for Cox, raised concerns with the council over a franchise fee charged to Cox by the city that wouldn't be charged to Google Fiber. Cox Communications built the first cable system in Omaha more than 40 years ago, and per its agreement, Cox provides the city with a 5% franchise fee annually, which amounts to about $5 million a year. So, of course, follow the money is the theme of this season, and it's very interesting that Cox is chiming up on this situation as a competitor is moving their way in, and it's Google Fiber. We always talk about, again, the fiber optic, the fiber wiring that's in North Omaha that isn't being used because Cox won't turn it on. I'm pretty sure Cox is pretty concerned about this move. But Cox's agreement, $5 million to the city is quite a bit. And the spokesperson continues saying, "To be clear, we are here today to embrace competition." Again, leaning right into what I'm saying, say if passed in its current form, this agreement will undoubtedly cause Omaha to forego significant revenue. We respectfully ask that the city delay action on this item until an agreement can be made where all competitors are playing by a similar set of rules. Change in the state law, different interpretation of the statute, or court decision could all create this effect. So, and we're looking at a local battle for internet brewing up. I think that definitely competition is good in this respect because, as I said, the two big dogs, the two big dogs in the area, CenturyLink and Cox, have kind of had a stronghold, and we see the impacts it has on low income families and low income communities. I mean, we can go on and on for days about our troubles with Cox Communications at Mine and Soul and trying to run a community station and with the internet that's made available in that area on top of the power grid and the rolling brownouts. Yeah, it was a headache.
Hot mess. It's a little bit of a monopoly situation for sure. Miss Erica Feld, I definitely feel that too, and I see where they're coming from. They want Google to play by the same rules, but they of course they're going to chime up. They were chiming up even before this issue came up because they're trying to keep that stronghold on the area, and so that's what's up. Serkenfeld says, I don't go yelling to the mayor when a new child care opens. Be good and you won't lose money. That's real. Mama God says, are you kidding, buddy? We had a whole office in the basement in front of a basement bathroom, desktop, color printer, fax machine, and all. That's when AOL was a thing. You know about Y2K because we were tripping on it in our home. We even thought of the tornado Trofeo.
His car.
Okay, with all the electronic features was going to crash. Wow. Okay, he remember being
Yeah,
a thing. He remember all them details, but he remember being a thing.
yeah, exactly. I remember AOL, the dial up, and that dreadful sound.
That's crazy. Oh yeah, yeah. You're Brooke. I was just telling Buddy he's an elder millennial like you. Like
Yeah.
right, you guys is right in the middle. You remember hearing the dial up, but you also grew up with the internet, so it's funny. She says, we're talking. You guys are still talking about that, but yeah, I think that this is something else that really, really how it affects us in the Black community. Cox and CenturyLink really have very poor service in North and South Omaha, and
Man,
they have the ability to make that service better, and they don't right now. They don't see it being economically viable for them to do that, as if we wouldn't pay for that in our areas. And so, here's some competition coming in, and of course we expect them to chime up on something. They're gonna find something to chime up about on that. Linda in Chicago said Cox hasn't been very good to the community. Now they want the city to keep them in the game, right? But I do believe in competition to help keep rates closer to fair for consumers.
Agree.
Yeah.
And also, if you remember, shout out to Brother Bill King. He was trying to, before he got the internet situation in rural Nebraska at the reservations, he was trying to do that in low income communities in North and South Omaha, and Cox Communications blocked him.
Yeah.
And he was very vocal about that. Which is why he moved out to the reservations where, Cox didn't have any system set up. They didn't have anything set up.
Yeah.
So they couldn't block him. So yeah, we'll definitely keep our eyes on this situation.
For sure. So what's going on behind the scenes right now is I'm trying to get we're something's going on with the program where the link is not allowing Precious to come in. So I'm trying to get that fixed. Let's go take a quick break and see if I can work that out. Buddy, I'm gonna make a change here that might throw you off. You might have to jump back in. So just let you know when we go to break, then let's do that. Before we go to break real quick, Brother Valentine says, hopefully local community leaders and politicians are also exploring how North Omaha contractors and workforce can get prepared for projects such as this.
Yep.
Very good. Very nice reminder on that. We definitely need contractors to come in and help do some of this infrastructure work too and make that money. So definitely agree with that. We'll take a quick break and come right back. Stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers. Hopefully we'll get Precious on in just a second. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Don't you touch nothing. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. For all Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, the chat chimers, thanks for bearing with us. I'm still trying to get Precious on. We're having some technical difficulties here on that. And on top, and now as soon as that happens, now we're gonna get some spam on top of it. So we're getting to the point on this show where we need a little back end help sometimes. So we'll try to figure this out. But thanks for everybody who's tuning in. Brooke said elder millennials were here before the internet. I remember when they introduced it to my school. Yeah. Definitely
big colorful Apple computers.
Okay, is that the first computers you guys saw? Was that?
That's what I remember. It might have been some, before then.
Right. Okay.
But I remember when the library got out the Dewey Decimal System. I remember them cards.
Give us a little tap in the chat. Let us know if we're still coming through. If you're still here, still with us. I had to make a little change behind the scene, and I'm just trying to see if it dumped us off or not. So we're trying to figure it out. Sorry for the delay on that. Once again, we're having some technical difficulties. Josh Tate says, "Yeah, we crawling in Netscape." Okay. Brooks says, "I remember the Oregon Trail." What? You go back far enough to remember the Oregon Trail game? Christy North says, "We had MS DOS when I was in high school." Right? Yeah. Christy North said, "Gen Xer here, me too." I remember when they didn't have computers, let alone internet. So, okay.
Number munchers. Oh, dang. Dang. Oh, man, it took me back with that one, Josh. Yes, I remember number munchers.
Yeah, man, we still having some problems. She's getting access denied for some reason on here. So yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on.
A new one.
It is a new one. Yeah. It's a new technical issue that we're having here. So yeah, sorry about that. I guess we'll keep on. Pops, I was just getting ready to say that. He said I had a Texas Instrument computer before there was internet or monitors. I remember that Texas Instrument. I am middle aged now, so I'm doing that midlife crisis thing where I'm going back and buying all the stuff that I used to want and have back in the day. and the Texas Instrument computer was one of them. I remember it distinctly. I remember because I used to have to program just to get a beep out of it. You would be sitting there programming, writing code for like a whole day just to get the thing to sing a little song or something like that. And I remember that distinctly. Yeah,
Texas. They made computers. I just know I had the calculator.
No, they had a home. They had one of the first home computers, man, and it was kind of yeah. I wish I still had it. You wonder where this stuff went in your life. Like, where did it go? I don't remember throwing it away or nothing like that.
It just disappeared.
Just is gone. Like, did it actually happen? Was that in another life, another time?
Mandela effect.
We're gonna see. I'm gonna ask her right now. She wants to call in, and we can talk to her via phone.
Okay. I got an article teed up that she might can kind of slide in. While you dealing with that, you want me just hop into that?
Yeah. Let's hop into that. Yep.
Okay. Well, let's keep this show rolling, y'all. Again, chime into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a conversation that I'm expecting to continue beyond today. I would definitely love to bring to the people. Who counts as black? That is the question that NPR is asking. That's the question that I have personally been asking myself and friends for several years now. But it is a question that needs to be answered, man. It has real life implications. And the thorny question has quietly found its way now before the U.S. Supreme Court yet again, ensnared in a major legal battle over the Voting Rights Act that could further gut the landmark law and make it harder to protect the political power of voters of color, quote unquote. The battle is playing out over new maps of congressional voting districts created by Republican-led legislatures in Alabama and Louisiana after the 2020 census. The census that just passed, we were definitely instrumental and a part of that. I don't know. Instrumental is fair, but we were part of the push for the census and putting out the information in the community to make sure that people are filling out the census. And now we're seeing some of the real life implications of that. The fate of the maps rests on how the Supreme Court rules first in the case of out of Alabama, which is Merrill versus Milligan, which the High Court heard this month and may set a precedent for lawsuits about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. And if you're not familiar, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act reads, less opportunity than other members of the electorate to participate in the political process and to elect representatives of their choice. So again, that is the portion or the section of that act that is in question. And in both of those cases, lower courts have separately found that the maps were drawn in a way that likely dilutes black voter strength at the polls, i.e. gerrymandering. Which is again an age-old tactic to water down the vote, which I'm sure Precious will have a lot to say about some of the gerrymandering tactics that she has seen personally as the first black woman electorate. History making P, as we like to call her. Yeah, put some respect on her name. GOP state officials or Grand Old Party state officials have pushed back, of course, against the analysis that led to those findings, partly by questioning a definition of blackness that for close to 2 decades has been the standard in cases focused on voting power of so-called black people and no other racial or ethnic group whom the federal government classifies as a protected minority population. So again, this is somewhat of a uniquely black conversation. Since a 2003 ruling by the Supreme Court, according to this ruling, the definition of black has included every person who identifies as black on census forms, including people who check off the boxes for black in any other racial or ethnic categories such as white, Asian, and Hispanic or Latino, which the federal government considers to be an ethnicity that can be of any race. So again, ethnicity, race, they're making the distinction.
I've often wondered why they phrase things like that on stuff. That's interesting. Never knew that.
Again, these are things that we acquiesce to. These are things that we accept, but we should question because it matters. Republican state officials, however, have called for narrower definitions of blackness that do not include people who also identify with another minority group. Citing no evidence, GOP officials in Alabama argued in lower court filings that limiting the definition to people who mark just the black box and do not identify as Latino for the census could be most defensible. In the Louisiana case, officials have been arguing for the definition to only include people who check off either just black box or both black and white and do not identify as Latino. So again, they're trying to make a separation. Now, before appealing their redistricting case to the Supreme Court, Alabama officials dropped their push to redefine blackness, but the state of Louisiana and its Republican Secretary of State Kyle Ardorn, have asked the country's highest court to weigh in with the final word on which definition should be used in Section 2 cases. So again, whether you're recognized as black or not could change depending on this Supreme Court decision.
That's crazy.
Your blackness is in question. But question it. There's a reason why I say so-called black.
That's a hot mess. Yeah, we got to come back to that.
Yeah, man.
In the meantime, between time, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get Precious on the phone. We wasted enough time not talking to her on some things. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna call Precious right now and have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Can y'all hear me? Is it breaking up?
No, you're coming in. Well, you're coming in good. I'm just having we just apologize for the technical difficulties we have on this side of things, but you're coming in through the phone fine. How you doing this morning?
Okay, I'm good.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it. Sorry about that. Nope,
okay.
not this time.
Can you hear me?
Oh, that's the problem. Yeah, she can't hear you. So let me try to do a couple things here.
Please bear with us, y'all.
Yeah. Bear with us. Okay, go ahead.
Precious, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now, buddy.
Okay.
Cool. Man, Miss Erica Felder's giving you a good morning. Everybody's happy that you're here for sure. We're happy that you're here too. I'm sorry that it's under these circumstances, but I'm glad you're up and hanging with us. What's going on with you there? I know that you you going hard on this election. I know that. We know that much. That's probably your whole world right now. But let us know how you're doing. What's going on with you?
I mean, we're literally 20 days away. I mean, like I said, I stopped counting. Literally, I think we're 20 days away.
Wow.
But definitely going hard because we want to make sure that everybody is getting out to vote. This is a very, very critical election. I don't think people understand, if they control this election, they control the White House for the next 2 years, basically. Even though we have a Democratic president there, they're going to stop everything that we got going. They're going to just do frivolous lawsuits. They're going to basically stand still democracy for the next 2 years until the 2024 election, as they try to prepare to take back over every House seat, even the administration. So I tell you, it's very critical. I look at not just in Nebraska, but we start looking across the nation, the fact that we have people defending ignorance. You have people who are bringing up these awful bills that will basically impact women more than ever, punish women. It's just sickening what's going on. Not only that, it's our school boards, our legislatures, our Secretary of States. They are really trying their best to put people in place to where when the 2024 election comes, y'all, it's going to be a complete shit show. Because now you're putting people in place who can switch or who can who have access to our electoral system.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, many of them are still going on this big lie that the 2020 election was rigged. And I'm like, the Secretary of State signed off on this. Even the Nebraska Secretary of State said we have safe elections and signed off on our electoral process. So right now, I don't know how much urgency I can tell y'all, but this is not a game, y'all. This is not a game. If you're eligible to vote. This is not a game. I don't understand. I don't know what more can be said. I mean, I get so tired of hearing people saying, "Oh, I don't vote because of this. I don't vote because of that." But you got to realize that every day that you don't vote, it impacts your livelihood. It impacts the taxes that you pay. It impacts how your children learn. It impacts so much. But people are so quick to spend money to go to Vegas, fights, whatever. But you can't take 15 minutes because it don't take that long to vote here in Nebraska. It doesn't take that long to vote, y'all. Literally, I have literally I have driven from the courthouse on my lunch break to 60th and Sorensen and Parkway, voted, and still was able to get lunch and drive back to the courthouse and be back at work during my hour lunch, and still had time to sit and eat.
Right.
That's how fast you can vote, y'all. When I tell you I'm not lying to you, I am being so 100. That's the last time that I actually worked in a building where I had an actual lunch break where somebody could tell me when to go to lunch and when not to go to lunch.
Right.
I literally did that on my lunch break in 2017. I need y'all to get out and vote. I don't know how much more I can stress it, y'all.
No, I hear the urgency and the seriousness in your voice, and I'm with you. It definitely, it's always said that this is a once in a lifetime and this election can change your life, but it really, I get the sense that life as we know it is at stake. The country as we know it, the government, everything as we know it is at stake. And you mentioned that things might be at stake of being put at a standstill for the next 2 years. I think we're going to be going backwards. And speaking of going backwards, one thing that you talk about as far as the vote and the importance of the vote, and that kind of stuck with me, you always say if voting wasn't so important, they wouldn't be doing all the things that they're doing to stop us from voting. And I don't know if you heard the story as we were preparing to get you on, But NPR reported that there are several grand old party Republican legislators around the country who are questioning what blackness is to try to change the Voting Rights Act. So I want to get your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts about just the whole concept?
It's sickening. It's sickening that people who don't look like me and who have never encountered what blackness is now questioning my blackness when it comes to my vote. Come on now, y'all. Where are we at now? We got old white men, and I'm gonna say it because it's about old white men who make millions of dollars off the backs of us are sitting there telling us what our blackness is in order to vote. I had this conversation with my mom yesterday, and it frustrates me because people always want to be quick to throw up the civil rights and say different things, but they fail to realize without black folks, y'all wouldn't have the voting stuff that y'all have right now. All of this has been off the backs of black people. The civil rights started with the black people. It started with all rights being attacked. I keep saying this. My mom is 62 years old. The Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. My mom was born in 1960. I'm still two generations into that, y'all. My mom is 62 and the Voting Rights Act passed in 1965 when she was 5 years old. So now we got people sitting there telling us that they want to define what our blackness is because the Voting Rights Act. Come on now, y'all. Come on.
And you know,
we can't keep playing this game.
And it's crazy because it's not just, to me, it's not just this, you know, the fact that we're 2 generations away from civil rights. We're still, it's still a fight. It's not, they have not, things have gotten worse in some areas. They have found ways to circumvent what was done back in the day in sneaky ways. There's so much that's going on here on top of it. I just wanted to jump into the chat real quick. There's a lot of people that are coming in. Gail Jefferson is a name I haven't seen in a minute. Let's keep it strong. We did it once. We can do it again. Vote. Your voice count. Also, Linda in Chicago says, I always want to say Linda in charge. Linda in Chicago says people need to stand up to crazy and vote. It's coming in an avalanche if you don't.
Man.
She also says we need to stop the stop for real. Stacey Jean says you have individuals who encourage black people not to vote. I see it in my feed every day. Just ignorance. Wow.
It is. I mean, I got family members who are just complete ignorance. You know, I'm not gonna say. I mean, people be like, "Oh, I don't know why you voting. I don't know why you voting." Well, fool, you paying taxes every day. You collecting something from the government. Like, come on. Like, I mean, it's so frustrating, y'all. It's frustrating because I see when we see what people in Georgia and Texas are going through. Like, you literally can't even give people food in the line, y'all. When people start passing laws to deny food and water to someone who is standing in a line, we have a problem. We have a problem with humanity. And these folks, the grand old party is doing this. I'm so tired of people saying the Republican Party, they during elections, they pop up in communities of color and put these stupid ass community centers that ain't never did nothing. Like they said the other day, we had a shortage on milk, y'all, on baby formula. They voted against increasing to get baby formula, but then they pop up in communities of color and they bring the damn milk with them. Come on. You deny it to pass a law to help people be able to get milk, but then you pop up these community centers and communities of color and you bring the milk with you? Quit playing in our face.
It's pretty incredible. Every time I get wind of the ridiculousness, it really is. You know, it's kind of incredible how a lot of these politicians, people who are in power that have something to do with your daily life, how they operate, how they move. We wouldn't allow them fools in our house. We would sit down and have a meal with them. We wouldn't talk to them in the street. And they have something to do with our lives and our lives of our babies and everything else. It's just ridiculous.
Can I just say one thing before because I want to go back. I don't never go in on him, but I want to go in on him today too. Don Bacon. Let me go in on him real quick. I got something to say about him. He sits there. If you looked when he's debated Senator Vargas, and the only reason I'm calling him Don Bacon because he didn't put no respect on Senator Vargas' name the other day, and during the debate, he kept calling him Tony, and Senator Vargas kept calling him Congressman. So I'm going to call him Don today because he didn't get no respect. So Don. Anytime he has debated Senator Vargas, he never comes with like facts of things that have really that have been like, he never says anything. He does the scare tactics. Number one, the first scare tactics are your taxes, then the police. They always try to scare, and I'll say it, they scare white folks because they don't want white folks to think that they don't want their taxes to go up, and then they want white folks to be scared thinking that the black people or people of color are going to change the police department and come to police, and I know we're going to go into that in a minute. So they use those scare tactics, and that's what he did. That's what he's done. And him and his little crony, his little homeboy, Tony Connor, right along with him, Tiptoe Tony, that's his name. He's sitting there right there with him. And making all these frivolous lies about letting criminals out, and they the criminals. Now, y'all know normally I don't talk about the police. You know, I try to stay 50-50 with them because I be like, well, there's some good cops. But the last couple of weeks, they've been airing them out, and we got some questions, folks. And y'all know I'm the first one to defend, but I can't defend y'all no more because we're starting to see the proof is in the pudding. Okay. The proof is in the pudding. It's there. It's there. And so now you got Aaron Hansen being aired out. I don't know. Maybe I'm jumping the gun before. I'll go back for y'all because I know y'all might ask.
No, we with you. We right along with you.
Man, we waiting on you to come in and say something.
Right. We right along with you. Go ahead. This your section.
So I'm mad right now because we have these same people who say they're supposed to be protecting, but they're trying to make these scare tactics. But they are the ones who they're not doing what they're supposed to do internally. So they're so busy trying to keep us from holding them accountable, but they in there doing dirty work. So here you go. You got the lawsuit with former Deputy Chief Bill Castro, Gonzalez. She went in and she aired them out. Let them know this is what they've been doing. This is what they've been doing. So here we got them going against women, not promoting, being vindictive. Then you have them. Then what their retaliation was? Oh, well, let's talk about oh boy. And I'm like, oh boy, you know, they pull out the bull crap on Pantos. That was a hit job. That was pure D. When you don't have two sides to a story and you have one side of the story, that's a hit piece because you don't got the other person to defend themselves, and the other person was the other party, so they never interviewed the other party who was involved.
Oh wow!
You're talking about the infidelity story.
They had they had a non-disclosure agreement. They had this was signed, so you don't even have the full story because you don't have the other party involved. I'm not a journalist, and I know that.
Wow.
You write a one-sided story based off of somebody who has a desk down in the prosecutor's office who sits there and collects public information from the computer upstairs, because that's what they're doing. That's all they're doing. People, y'all can go to the courthouse and pull people's name for free and pay 25 cents a page to make a copy of any type of filings that's done. I'm just telling y'all this. It's in the clerk of district court. It's public knowledge. But you have somebody who sits there on the crime beat and looks up different things. I'm waiting for them to say, well, Precious has bad credit. I'm just waiting. Some mistake because everybody do.
They're trying to come. They're going to try to find whatever they can find.
And then we have that, and now we have the expo, which was showing of what's going on within the police department. Them covering up. Now that video with that show yesterday of Aaron Hansen doing what he did, unacceptable.
Right.
Unacceptable for a police department to cover up when someone has done something to harm. Number one, the young man was unarmed because he was handcuffed. I don't care what he says. I don't care what a person says. That person can't defend himself, and then you come up and hit him. Come on now.
Because he mouthing off out of being mad.
Because you mad. So you mean to tell me as sheriff you think you can control your temper? You mad because there's gonna be a lot of stuff gonna be thrown at you. You gonna just walk up on somebody and hit them?
Power tripping.
We now have it's power tripping, and he is not qualified to be sheriff. Aaron Hansen is not qualified to be sheriff. And anybody that sits there and backs him, and then he turns around and he goes on KFAB yesterday, and basically he's done the same thing that Don Klein did when it comes to black and brown people. They turn around when they're in the wrong, and they turn around and re-victimize the victim who was the victim in the case, because Don Klein did it to rest in peace James Skellock. He did the same thing. He went on and he tried to make him out to be the bad guy when he was actually the victim. And that is what Aaron Hansen did yesterday. We don't need those people in office. I'm tired of them when we are the victim. I'm tired of them taking us, black and brown people, as the victim and turn around and trying to make us the criminal. Yes, okay, the young man was in handcuffs, but again, he was now detained and he could not defend himself. And you go hit him.
And you know what struck me too before we had this when we did the special thing yesterday on this subject, one thing we didn't talk about was one thing we didn't remind ourselves about is that the sheriff's department is going to be running the child
juvenile justice system,
the juvenile justice prison, right? And now it's really relevant that this cat is going to kick some young dude like that, some juvenile, you know what I'm saying? Same type of situation. He walked up and got mad and got physical with somebody because they was mouthing off, and it happened to be a young dude. On top of that, exactly the kind of people that they're gonna be watching in these juvenile justice centers. And so it's just like further, it's further for me to be like, if you can't control yourself, then what you gonna do? Jump in the chat real quick. Kimara Snipes is in the chat. Just want to say, well, first of all, just want to say it's 8:12 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're on the line with Precious McKesson because we could not get her in the show today. So she's on the phone, and we are discussing a few things here. Kimara's chomping at the bit over here too. She said, I'm so mad we can't be together right now, but it's probably for the best." She's hot with it. I just wanted to jump in. Marianne Williams says every bad SCOTUS ruling has to be countered by Congress, and if Republicans control Congress, their rulings will remain the law of the land. 9 unelected officials deciding health care, who you can love, and who decides how presidents are elected. A case in the works right now to give state legislatures the power to decide which candidates receive the electoral votes and to decide the presidency. Our votes for president will be pointless, and the old white men in the state legislatures get to decide.
There you go.
Everything that I did for the electoral vote, even if we had it, they could destroy that. So what happened here in Nebraska, they could destroy it. They could put it back with the legislature, and that's what they thought when many other states. That's why those cases have been filed, because they thought during the election they really were thinking that the legislatures had the power, and they're like, no, you don't. You don't have the power. So that's why they're trying to pull it back, because they realized during that time in 2020, because again, they thought they knew something, and they didn't know the law. So because they didn't know the law, they were out here, going to different states saying, "Oh, the legislature can overturn the electoral votes," and they technically couldn't. So now they filed cases to basically give the legislature to rework the law and give them that power to do that. So somebody could have came in and basically said that I basically kicked out basically could have chosen. They can choose who does the electoral votes, and then when you go in, say for instance, how can they do it? Say for instance, okay, I'm a Democrat and I want to go rogue, and I'm a registered Democrat, but technically I'm a Republican. Basically, that person could switch their vote and give the electoral vote to somebody else, even though it was for the other
person. Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of control. For those of you that are on Facebook and not seeing the YouTube comments in here, that's why I'm making sure to read the YouTube comments as well. She says, Linda in Chicago says, I'm thankful for cell phone cameras. Of course, they went on KFAB. That station is the bullhorn for the crazy radical Republicans. They feed off the crazy, and their listeners lap it up. Ms. Fell says, your kids pop off. You can't physically check them for it, for sure. Kimber's saying she's on YouTube right now saying, I got a lot to say about that article. So we'll definitely have Kimara call in when we get done talking to you, and have her talk a little bit more about what's going on with that article as well. Wanda Lewis says, I also don't like the fact that police will call paramedics to inject a detainee in order to control their behavior, not knowing anything about their person's medical history. Let that for the hospitals. Right.
Man, that's a whole nother part. But I did want to mention it's not just Aaron Henson, but also Chief Tosh Motter and those who found that this was okay. And we kind of talked about it, but the more I think about it, I looked in the article. Chris lays out what the actual police code of conduct is for excessive force, and it says that it's okay. It's okay to use force necessary to gain control of the situation. And being that the child was already handcuffed, I question it. Like we are saying, was that necessary to get control of the situation? And I'm thinking just the culture of intimidation, specifically towards young, quote unquote, black boys. Because I think of, okay, this kid, maybe he was a gang member, maybe he was a part of some gang activity, maybe he was in the area. But does he deserve to be treated that way? And apparently, based on the decision, Chief Tosh Motter and the Internal Affairs believe he did. But then I also think of Dylan Roof, who shoots up, kids who go shoot up a church and they get Burger King.
Well, first of all, I gotta remind you that there was supposed to be some disciplinary action. At one point,
Right.
they did say that it was wrong that he did that. So that's to me, the point of that story was that they said it was wrong. They were giving him some disciplinary action, and then
Chief Tosh Motter said no.
Say that again.
Chief Tosh Motter said no.
Right. So to me, that's the point. The point is there was going to be some disciplinary action. There were some phone calls made and some threats made and all kinds of stuff, and then he pulled that back. So even within their police system, they said that what he did wasn't right, and still got pulled back. Kimmer in the chat says, right, buddy, the chief chose to ignore a suggestion from the committee, and that's what should be investigated. It's not illegal to be a gang member, for sure. Yeah, so go ahead, Precious.
Can I just say, and also, I mean, I'm side-eyeing the ones who, these organizations that collecting money to protect our kids, and they supporting Henson.
Really?
So, follow the money. Start looking
follow the money.
Because I'm gonna tell you, there ain't no way that we out here fighting. This folks out here fighting the good fight, and they see that, and they still rallying behind Henson. You ain't nothing but a follower. I'm about to say something else.
There you go. Brianna Fulls on YouTube saying good apples in the police force doesn't exist when whole tree is rotten to the core. Come on, Brianna.
You got, I mean, and I'm saying, I've always, I mean, I have some great friends, and that's the thing, though, I still have some great friends that are in the police department that I talk to every day that are good people. And this goes back to why, we know that Senator McKinney is, doing the Brady Giglio list. Wanted that to be, available in the state of Nebraska. And I just want everybody to know Tony Connor opposed that. There's no way you can oppose a bill that shows transparency and basically that is compiled it would be compiled by the prosecutor's office. So again, i.e. Don Klein, get him out of there. And then it'll be between the prosecutor's office and the police department, and it'll contain the name and details of law enforcement officers who have sustained incidents, untruthfulness, crime convictions, and other issues, placing their credibility in question. This is why we need this. This is why they are pushing against this, because of transparency. Don't tell me you want to be transparent and then you're turn around and you're testifying against a bill that will show transparency. You can't have it both ways, police department, Omaha Police Department. Yeah. We need that bill. And Tony Connor has testified in opposition of that bill. And I hope and pray that Senator Terrell McKinney continues to push. He will need our support. He will need us down there testifying at those hearings. They're in the next session when that bill goes into committee, because that needs to be done. That bill needs to be passed because we have to hold them accountable. And you cannot tell me and get on there and get on these things and give us these numbers. Oh, crime is down, gangs down, this is down, this is down. But then you don't want to give the actual transparency of your police department. I'm sorry. Y'all quit playing in our face, Schmatter. For real. I mean, I used to be like, Schmatter. I thought that was my homeboy. Man, dude, look.
Yeah, that's funny too. We were giving him the benefit of the doubt on a whole bunch of stuff from way back, and then in the last few months, it's just like one thing after another keeps coming up about him, and he's in it, and he may be a halfway decent dude or halfway decent chief, but he's also in a situation where, like you said, is the whole system's corrupted in the first place. How you gonna even operate in that, even if you're a good dude?
You don't get to the.
We ain't seen her. Where's she at? She's still in the back of the milk carton, missing.
Hey, Linda in Chicago on YouTube says Shamato working remote like Gene.
I didn't see that comment. See, we both like, where's Gene at?
Right.
I saw a picture of her at the NAACP event on Saturday, so she popped up somewhere.
Hey, Kimara in the chat on YouTube said, I saw Gene Saturday night while the mayor of KC was talking about equity and caring about community. She couldn't keep her head out of her phone.
She don't want to hear that mess.
Yeah, people, I swear. Y'all, look, we got some work to do, y'all. Yep. I can't stress this enough. We gotta vote. This is the thing. We're seeing why we need to vote. Now we have to put it to action. Yeah. We see it there. The action piece is us getting out to vote. Show up. Take your friends. Get your 18-year-olds who are new voters. Talk to their friends. Let them understand that it's not that you have to vote in order to have a voice. And their voice is your no support for dump. You got I'm sorry, I should have read the screen at the same time. But you got to get out and you have to use your voice, and your vote is so powerful. I wish y'all would understand how powerful your voice is and your vote is. And you have people like myself, Kimara, and others who are out here, like, I mean, doing this, y'all. It's not, and I tell y'all, we're not getting rich off this. I just want to keep that 100 with y'all. We not getting rich off this. We're able to take care of our families. We're not getting rich off this. And I'll tell you right now, I'm still doing what I have to do to make ends meet. So this fight that I'm doing is the fight because I want us to have representation. On Friday, we had our annual banquet, and we do a thing called the Candidates of Color. We have the Candidates of Color Fund, and that fund is to raise money for candidates of color who are running for office, because we all know that when you're a person of color, you don't have all the same access as your white counterparts. And I'm gonna tell you this: what I say right here, I say this in front of everybody. I don't. My blackness is me. I am real. I am a black woman. I will show up always as a black woman. I'm never going to lower my standards because of to make somebody else feel comfortable in who they are. No, I am a black woman, and I know how disenfranchised as a black woman. I know where I'm at. So I'm always going to speak up for people of color all the time. So if you don't like it, bye. That's how I look at it. Don't, because I'm always. So when we did that fund, I talked about that. I talked about it. Look, we doing a live fund. I'm raising money. Put your hands up. Y'all say y'all for this. Y'all say y'all for us. Give us your money, because we need black and brown. We need representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at the legislature. We have 2 black men, one Latino, and 1 Native American in the legislature. We have no black women in the legislature. I think we do have a woman of Asian descent in the legislature. But again, we ain't got no black women. Representation matters. We have people who are doing bills that that need to represent black women, but they need representation. I'm sorry. We have to have more women that look like us fighting the fight down in the legislature, on our school boards, on our city councils. Like, representation matters, y'all. So if y'all don't want to see the representation, then just say it, but don't put up status talking about Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is the city roads like this? Why is that? Because if you don't vote, you don't have a bone in this fight. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the mayor. You didn't show up to vote for the mayor.
Right.
Don't talk about the potholes and you didn't show up to vote for the mayor because you could have voted her out and had better potholes.
She got voted in 3 times.
3 times.
We appreciate you. We
get my blood pressure down.
I was gonna say calm down a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we're politicking with P. We're politicking with P. It's happening right now. Precious McKesson, history making P. I call her the modern day Fannie Lou Hamer. She's all about it. She gets down. We appreciate you very much.
I'm sorry, y'all. I be trying to, I'm trying to get my words. I get upset. I be like, my words be coming out. But hey, this fight is a fight. I'll see y'all next week. I'm actually leaving in a couple of hours to go to El Paso.
Okay.
To actually go do neighborhood work to see what's going on in neighborhoods, and that's what we hosting our next conference. And so I get to go down there and visit with people, and be able to see what they're doing in their communities, because these are communities that are hit very high. And again, Texas is going through they're all going through an election too. They're fighting a good fight too. So people, I'm telling you, just vote. That's all I can say is vote like your life depends on it, because I promise you, everything that we've done, they're going to try to reverse that student loan forgiveness. They're going to try to reverse so many things that this administration has done in the last 2 years to get us back on track. And we're not perfect. No one is perfect. But we're trying to put it to a place where everybody can be able to provide for their families and be able to be on an equal playing field. And I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to that equal playing field. But like Buddy said, if we continue to go the route we're going, we're going to see ourselves going backwards. And that's what we don't want.
Yeah.
So again, vote Greg Gonzalez, vote Dave Pantos, vote Tony Vargas, vote up and down that ticket. And if y'all need me, y'all know where to find me. Thank y'all.
That's what's up.
There you go.
Appreciate you very much, everybody in the chat saying that. I appreciate your work. Safe travels. We appreciate you, Precious. Gail Jefferson said exactly. I'll kick my way through. I'm with you. So we appreciate everything. Thank you very much for calling in. I'm sorry about the difficulties this morning. We'll get that fixed for next time. And we'll definitely see you next week. Well, there she gone. Okay. All right. Have a good one. Peace. All right, peace. All right. Let's take a quick break and jump back in and give Kimara a call now, since we were kind of running out of time here in the show. We apologize for the delays and the technical difficulties. Is what it is. I didn't mean to hit that fat finger in the button there a little bit.
Well, we're going to a break. That's all right.
Yeah, we're going to a quick break. Stay tuned. You listen to First Sky Omaha Radio. Man, I'm fat fingering everything right now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
There we go.
Got your hands full.
Man. Welcome back. You listen to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Oh, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Man, times like this, do I miss me some Star Trek Rich in the weatherized crew. Technical difficulties always got me around here fat fingering buttons and stuff like that. So yeah, appreciate you guys standing by and dealing with us, helping us to continue this conversation with all of your input in the chat. A lot of people in the YouTube channel over there checking us out too. So we really appreciate that, and thanks for doing that. Thanks for continuing on with us and bearing with us through these technical difficulties. With that said, we got Miss Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name on the line. because once again we could not bring anybody into the show today thanks to the program. So she's on the phone. Kimara, can you hear us?
Good morning. I can hear you.
Oh, good. Good morning to you. How are you doing this morning? Said your anxiety is up, huh?
It is a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. It's been just this whole past just several months have been a lot. Just getting ready for this election. I mean, I work on the election through the the volunteer work I do at the party, through the consulting work I do on campaigns, and through my job, the nonpartisan approach that we take there. So, these elections, Precious said it, democracy is literally on the line. And, I think that, I think it goes deeper than, we can't just say people, we need to say that people need to get out to vote, of course, but that's something that requires a formula and intent. Because if it was that easy, she wouldn't need to do what she does. I wouldn't need to be paid the money I do to train organizers and run an organizing department and all of that. But I will talk about something later on when we get to what's good in the hood, about something we're working on that's real and hopefully can help us end on a positive note. So,
okay.
Cool. Okay, well, first of all, when you said that, I was a little worried about your nerves. Like I said, but we got precious blood pressure up, and I was worried about you in your state as well. And I can feel it. We're all here talking about the same stuff, and I'm feeling that anxiety myself too. So, just how are you in general, physically and mentally and spiritually right now? While you're doing all the good work that you're doing, how are you personally?
Well, you know what? Actually, I was supposed to be leaving to go to Florida today, but something happened with those plans, and some people had to kind of back out, unfortunately. So I decided the next few days I'm just going to take off. And I've been talking to some friends of mine, and they've been really encouraging me to write a lot about just some of the things that have been happening over the past just couple of years, really. So honestly, I do suffer from anxiety. I do suffer from PTSD, and I do suffer from panic attacks sometimes. And to be honest with you, I started suffering from panic attacks a few years ago, and came to find out that it was really because of my consistent interactions I was having with the police between my home life and my library life. I know people think library and don't think police, but the police were there often. If you heard about the cutting that happened yesterday on Ames, that was actually some kids who just left the library. A couple of them I know, and got into a fight when they left. And so it's been just a lot over the years. And so I try to do what I can. I'm not the greatest with self-care. I completely admit that. But I did get out of my old neighborhood. I mean, people were shooting from my yard, literally. And so I'm better than I was maybe a couple of years ago, not where I probably should be, but I think we're all a work in progress. And I think that, unfortunately, that's one of the things that comes with this. And I think that as a community, we could probably learn more about how to be more of a support to each other, because we really need that. But just full disclosure, I suck at it, and I'm going to do what I can, especially over these next few days.
Well, I got to tell you, I read something one time that talked about, anybody who's a thinking person is going to be depressed a lot, and is going to have high anxiety, and so on and so forth. Because how can you really pay attention to what's going on around you and not feel those things as a human being? Right. So when that made me change my viewpoint on people who got a little anxiety and stuff like that. It's natural. You do a lot of work in the community. How could you not be anxious about what's going on around you? That you're deep dive into what's happening in the hood. So it's really I also have a little bit of respect for people who decide that they can't deal with that, and they put a little cloud over their eyes about things. Sometimes nothing gets done with them, but I can understand why they need to try to survive as well. So
I think that there might be a balance somewhere. I think eventually you have to force yourself to be that person to put the kind of shade over. I think sometimes you have to do that, but I think that you also have to get back to it. So, I think there's a balance. Maybe I just don't know where it is yet. I'll find it though.
Definitely got to pick your battles, but unplug when your body tells you to.
Yeah, got to do it.
Yeah.
Jumping in YouTube in the chat real quick. Just want to make sure everybody in Facebook who's chatting is also seeing the YouTube or hearing the YouTube chats. Get out and vote. Conversations with Cheryl Weston. Good morning, Miss Weston. Thanks for coming in. She says, get out and vote. The Hood Table's in the house. Says, good morning, everyone. Appreciate you coming on in as well. Also, Cheryl Weston says Aaron Hansen is 360 African Empowerment Network, Omaha Police Union, 24th Street, BID, Chief Todd Schmatter, Mayor Stothard Boy. They're smiling in your face while stabbing people of color in the back. Powerful statement. Powerful statement. Miss Erica Felder is telling you to be good to yourself. You've been a blessing to many. We agree.
Yep.
Well, yeah, there's a lot in that statement that Weston said, but I think that overall, I think that just the organization as a whole does a really good job of just making itself look just perfect, right? The golden standard of policing. And I think that even that shows you the thought process put into just decision making that happens within the organization, right? It's very strategic because we're gonna dive into this. We're gonna dive into this. I had to wait to read that article yesterday because I was like, nope, I can't do this right now. I have to wait until I'm by myself somewhere where I can really think about what I'm reading.
Right.
And as I read it, I'm just like, the police is like all they're talking about is how did the video get out? When really they should be investigating is, the cover up, right?
Right.
They were talking about a little bit in the chat, when the committee suggested an investigation, the chief chose to ignore it. And that's what we should be investigating. And I know people might think I'm biased because I'm working on the Greg Gonzalez campaign, but let's take the sheriff's race just completely out of this. And I'm just going to be honest. I keep telling y'all, Kathy's my friend. Like, that's my homegirl. And we know how we are about our friends. I am protective of my friends. I think it's real funny that Tony Connor is talking about, sending this email. He sent this email, and that's crazy to me because that's why Kathy got fired. And her husband, who was a command officer, got an email from her, and she's a command officer. She was sending an email, and that was just terrible when she did it. They never found out what the email was. They didn't even bring it up in the trial that she was a part of, but she gets fired. But Tony Connor can send an email to the news, and nothing happens. See, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about just trumped up, just nonsense. It goes deeper than this race. I wish this race weren't happening right now because it just muddies everything up. It muddies everything up and it makes it seem like it's about the race, and it's not about the race. This is about internal happenings, what's culturally happening within this police department. Her original complaint was for sexual harassment, right? And she filed that with Internal Affairs. And then someone from Internal Affairs came to visit Greg, and then they found the file under the desk. They never even looked at it. Okay, she didn't hear anything about it because they weren't even investigating it. So she took it to the mayor's office, and that's what pissed them off.
Oh, wow.
Applied for that deputy chief position. They had to test everybody who applied for that position. She got first place. And what did the chief do? He made him go back and redo the criteria, and she still ended up finishing first.
Wow.
They tried to move the goalpost on her. She still scored.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying they tried to move the goalpost and she still scored.
It's hard for me to hear, buddy.
Sorry, let me turn him up. He said they tried to move the goalpost on her, and she still scored.
Right, and she still scored. It's just crazy, and then as far as like the video and everything, their defense isn't even that Aaron did everything right. It's just that it's terrible that somebody got a hold of this video. Now we got to open an investigation. That's fine. That's your business. But that's what whistleblowers are about. The people, the public who pay our taxes, we have a right to know what's going on in our police department.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's real funny that, and I'm working on the race, so there's stuff I know people don't know. There was a poll. You know what polls are, right? So campaigns will hire posters, okay? And it costs a lot of money to get posters, okay?
Right.
And so we got a phone call from somebody that got a poll call. And there was a question. This was a few months ago. And there was a question about excessive use of force, okay? Greg Gonzalez campaign ain't got no posters. I'm here to tell you that. And I know this because I'm a consultant on the campaign. So this had to be Aaron Hansen's campaign. They knew this was coming. Greg ain't polling. So why would he be doing that if he wasn't, worried that this wasn't going to possibly end his campaign? Now he out here acting all shocked and stunned that the video's out. You know this video is going to come out eventually.
Wow.
So, when it, for me, it's about our community, and how do we organize and make sure that we are holding people accountable?
Right.
And so these are the conversations that we have to have, and not just a few people. And it's difficult, and it's hard, and it's scary, and it's like, what do I say? What do I not say? I don't know, but I appreciate you all for just having a platform to even have these conversations, because I don't know, I've been battling with, shutting the heck up, or because I'm going to tell you something that happened. I was sitting in here in scooters last week, and Aaron Hansen came in here. And he came up to me, and he shows me a picture of some Caucasian young female, and he asked me, have I seen her? He's looking for her. And I'm just like, thinking to myself, what? Did you just ask me and nobody? Because he left. And he left. He didn't ask anybody else in the store, had they seen the girl. Didn't talk to anybody else or anything. So I didn't know the girl, and I told him I didn't. I went on Facebook and I made a post, and I said something about how he came in there looking for this girl, and how I was grateful I didn't know her, because I didn't want to put a young person in his hands, and I stand on that. I work with kids out here. A lot of these kids, the library next door, I'm at Scooters right now, they still call me mom. They still call me. They still reach out to me when they having problems. I do everything I can to help them. I don't want to put nobody in his hands, and I mean that. Wow. People Facebook page and try to make it seem like I was, unsafe for children and different things like that. When I all I have ever done is love on these kids properly and in order, but I meant what I said. And I got a call from one of my bros up here, and he was like, sis, look, like, I don't think it's a coincidence that he came in there. He didn't talk to nobody else. You know what I'm saying? So, like, my anxiety up a little bit. I don't know. Hell, I tried to get on the show this morning. Can't get the links on. Everything in my mind, going out of control a little bit. But, you know what I'm saying? Be quiet for what? Yeah. And just continue to let these things happen under our noses.
Right.
We have to recognize that power is a real thing. Okay? And these positions are positions of power.
Right.
But he still has to report to somebody, and that person still has to be elected.
And that brings us to what really is the deal, which is that we are the ones that got the power, because we're the ones that can put them in that seat. Mm-hmm. So any power that they think they have or that we recognize is matched by our power, because that's really where the power comes from.
Right. If people want an example of that power, I go back to, because people need to see it sometimes. We're visual people. Sometimes we need to see it. Just remember back with Leavenworth Cafe, I always go back to that. That was people power that shut that down.
I have to disagree with you on that. I think,
really?
I do. I think that it was people power that brought that situation to awareness, but I think they blamed us on their shutdown, but they were already shutting down. The COVID hit them hard. They were losing money, and they decided to jump on, well, it's because you guys came and protested that we're going to shut down. Now, I do think the power of us going down and protesting and bringing some awareness to what it is, what kind of company they were, was powerful. But I don't know if that was the reason why they shut all the way down, like shut the business down. I know that their reputations got real put out in the public, though, but based on what it is we do. But when I'm talking about power too, I'm really talking about this power of putting people in the seats. That they work for us. The police department works for us. The sheriff's department works for us. The politicians work for us. We're the real power in getting people into seats. In just being the masses of people, just being so many more people than them in the first place. This was really disheartening about people that don't think that it's important to vote or that it's important to go out here and do the fight or speak up, or any of these things, because we outnumber them, and we really have the power. So, so we really have to remember that. I'm also, I woke up this morning thinking about our broadcast yesterday. We did an impromptu broadcast about this article that we've been talking about. If you guys haven't seen it, go to the Reader and check out the article on what happened with Aaron Hansen in that cover up. And then you can also go to Flatwater Free Press and check it out too. And I was thinking about how basically what we're doing is pulling this. We're pulling these articles. We're pulling this news from credible, respected journalists, and what we're doing is coming here and talking about it. Now, if we get any kind of backlash, or anybody who is associated with us gets backlash, we got all the moral power in the world to stand up to all those things, because basically what we're doing is discussing the things that are out here in the public that need to be discussed and need to be framed and need to be talked about with the community, and that's where the power starts. The power starts in our conversations and gathering people together and all these things. But it can't stop there. It has to end with some action. And action right now has to do with getting with recognizing where our power is at and putting people in seats. And that's the reason why I get up and do this all the time. So Cheryl Weston in the chat, she's on YouTube as well, says, think about it. The reason that they're throwing out all this stuff against Greg Gonzalez, they feel threatened, and that Greg Gonzalez might be winning. He's absolutely winning with us. When he came on to the show, it was one of the most powerful interviews that we've ever done. Is when he came on and talked about things, and things that I took away from him was him saying, if they're treating me and my wife like this, what do you think they're doing to the rest of the population? So again, the good fight is here. Cheryl says, Paul, you're also right. The protests gave them a way to shut down. They were financially distressed. Yeah, but I don't want to downplay our power. Our power is still very, very important when it came to even the situation with Leavenworth. Precious is saying she's talking to Wanda Lewis. Yeah. So this is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. We want to remain here and have a platform to be able to speak on these things and have people like you who are out here on the streets doing the work. You guys, you are out in the spaces, in the OPS meetings, in the city council meetings, in the street, in the library, at the headquarters, talking to folks, doing the thing. And you need to have a back. You need to have a team behind you too, that will help you do what it is that you do. So we appreciate what you do. And yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
I was gonna say I don't do nothing alone, and I will say, if you allow me just a minute, I want to talk about something positive that we're trying to put together. And I had actually planned on reaching out to you, Paul and Buddy, to see if maybe we could collaborate somehow. But we're talking about power of the people. We've been talking about voting and how important it is, and one of the trickiest things is actually what we talk about GOTV, which is getting out the vote. It is very tricky. I mean, I go and try to find information from the Analyst Institute and the Urban Institute and all these different places just to try to figure out what the formula is. And it was interesting. I told you about this collaboration. I've created this partnership I've created with Black Voters Matter in Atlanta, Georgia. And so the other day I got some research from Analyst Institute, and it was talking about getting out the vote. And it said that research showed that when you do, or voter registration, actually, not get out the vote, but it was talking about research showed that when you did things like take applications to public places, party buses, et cetera, that people are more inclined and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, well, hell, this stuff we've been talking about for forever, but whatever, it's all good. So anyway, submitted this grant, and I reached out to them and submit this grant. And what we want to do is, get a DJ. We've linked up with Marcy Yates from the Culture House, and we want to do this party after the polls on election day at the Culture House. We don't have a specific time yet. Somewhere between like 2 and 7. But basically, after participants vote, they'll be encouraged to attend the event that's going to be held at the Culture House. People will present their voted today sticker, or just tell where your polling place is, whatever. We don't want to be exclusive, but they'll be encouraged to take a pledge. Within the civic engagement world, we always have these pledges to vote, but nobody ever has the conversation about what happens after the election day, right? At Nebraska Civic Engagement Table, we believe in year-round civic engagement. It's not just when an election happens, when we need to be working. So when participants come, they're going to be encouraged to take a pledge of at least 4 actions that they can take. They can do 1. They can pledge to learn about the history of the Black vote in North Omaha, and or promise to give someone a ride to polls in the future. We're going to link them with Black Votes Matter. They can pledge to get their friends or family registered to vote. We're going to link them with the League of Women Voters. They're going to pledge to get their friends who are already registered to vote out to vote in the future. We're going to link them with the Heartland Worker Center, which is going to be Why Shall. They're going to pledge to join a neighborhood association and participate in grassroots organizing at the neighborhood level, because even though it's not technically voter registration or get out the vote, everyone who is in a neighborhood association is a registered voter. We'll connect them with the North Omaha Neighborhood Alliance. I was speaking with Malcolm X, not Malcolm X, someone from the Malcolm X Foundation talking about pulling them into it as well. But the focus is to really, really communicate ahead of time for people to get out and vote and get them to show up. When they do show up, they'll also be entered into a raffle to win a prize. We don't know what that is yet. We have a meeting today at 4:30. And then also we want to make it, maybe get a book and people can sign a pledge. It ain't with your blood or nothing, but just sign the book, make it interactive. They say that when people write their goals down, you increase your chances of accomplishing that goal by 25%, right? So just get someone to just sign their name that says, I pledge to maintain my civic health. We're going to think about other ways to make it more interactive and fun, but getting out the vote is important. But we also have to be intentional and creative in the ways that we encourage people to do that, because these communities are traumatized. These communities have been lied to by elected officials for so long, it don't make no sense. I heard Precious talking about her parents, saying my parents were born in 1944, which means that they were of voting age in 1962. You know what I'm saying? And the parents that and the stories that my mother told me, the stories I grew up listening to as a member of the African Methodist Episcopal Church back when, they were for real, and we're like, no, we about this work, are the reasons why I do this in all parts of my life today. I cannot agree with Precious more about how serious this election is. And we have to practice relational organizing and talk to our people about it. Let them know, like, this ain't just about Donald Trump. This is what's happening in your backyard. This is what's happening with your kids every day when they go to school. This is what happening about what happened when we go to work. Everything is very, very, very important. So sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox, but it's just a lot.
No, preach. That's what we have you on here for, is exactly that. But I do want you to take a breath. Drink some water. Mm-hmm. Calm down.
Have some water, right? I'm just adamant.
I hear you. Well, we're going to keep on talking about it. So we'll get this technical thing fixed. We'll have you on next week and continue the conversation. We still got a little bit more time, and we're going to continue to talk about it, and hopefully come up with some action plans and some things that we can really bring to the forefront on how to do that. I like that idea with Culture House for sure. Like me and Buddy behind the scenes was like, yeah, that's right up our alley right there. That's we're down for that. Down for helping with all those things as well. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can I put out a plea?
Yeah.
Over at the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance, we have 2 accountants. We'd like to keep 2 of them. They are volunteer. One of them has worked with us for over a decade, and he's going to be leaving us. So at the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance, we are looking for a volunteer accountant. But let me just tell you this, that one, it would look great on your resume. Sona has a 55-year history of continued service to our community. You would be a part of investing in South Omaha neighborhoods through our mini grant program. We provide great leadership experience, and it helps you build your network of community organizations, elected officials, and all of that. And you get to work with our awesome Mark Holst, who is actually a former candidate for MCC board. Mm-hmm. So if you're interested in serving with us in that capacity, it's no more than 1, maybe max 2 hours a month, if that. And we only meet in the months that don't start with the J. So just let me know. Reach out to me on Facebook or whatever. But I would really, really appreciate that support.
Yeah, definitely put that in the Friends for Sky Omaha too. So we can spread the word on that. We're going to get out of here. We only got about 6 minutes left in the show, but thank you so much for calling in. And I'm really sorry again about the technical difficulties today. I hope it didn't stress you out too bad.
All good.
I was back here fat fingering stuff. I was so stressed out. I was like, oh. We'll catch you next week. Stay tuned on some more conversations that we need to have together on some stuff too. So be safe and call us whenever you need.
Okay.
You have a good one. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on real quick. I just want to let you know, Riley Wilson in the chat, who is a name I haven't seen before.
That's my brother from another mother.
There you go. He said Kimara is so selfless. She's constantly connecting people and trying to put people in positions to succeed. So there's your shout out right there. Appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There you go. What's good in the hood with Precious?
Man.
Like Keisha says, you rock. Kimara, man. Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate that. The Hood Table says, Paul and Buddy, please check out the post I just put in Friends group. First Sky warning people about the scams with the student debt relief aid. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Yes. Because I looked around a little bit looking for that application. Like, man, I hope I got the right one. Let me put a little more time in making sure I ain't getting scammed right now because there was a lot of them out there. So appreciate that, Hood Table. We're going to take a quick break and we'll come right back. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers will come back and do a lightning round, a little bit of haps, and get out of here. Stay tuned for Sky Omaha Radio. Don't you touch nothing. We'll be right back, yo. Welcome back. No love for the Fadoops party. Not around here. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. All B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, thanks for joining us. The Hood Table says she put that info in the group. Appreciate that. Josh Tex says, thank you, Kimmer, for doing the work. Thank you very indeed. Carolyn Jack says, yes, voting was not optional in my parents' house. As adults, even the poll ladies would snitch on us. That's crazy.
Didn't see him this year.
I don't know where you was at, but you wasn't here, baby. Erica Fell says the technical difficulties didn't take from the greatness of the show. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And the important food for thought that was served. Thankful for Women's Wednesday. Drink water, do something for you, and be good to yourselves. I appreciate that very much. That's Erica Fell. Let's do a little lightning round real quick. We had a couple little things we wanted to talk about. Buddy, what else did we leave out today?
Yeah, definitely gonna have to bring a couple of these stories back, put a pin in them for later, but to let you know what's going on around the world and especially in our backyard. We'll kick off with this state of the Nebraska Department of Education situation, and this, of course, has been an ongoing conversation here on First Sky Omaha. And the latest installment in the saga, if you will, now 5 GOP Grand Old Party senators are calling for an investigation of the Nebraska Department of Education, going right along with what we have been talking about really all day, man. These Republicans believing and pushing this nonsense, chasing ghosts and pushing theories that don't exist. Man, and that's pretty much the situation here.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, man. If you remember, shout out to our partners over at Flatwater Free Press posting the article about alerting us to what's happening in small towns across the state. Watching this documentary, pushing this idea that critical race theory and sex education is indoctrinating the children and this, that, and third. Although there are no findings of that, none of that is actually happening. So that is not stopping these senators from launching an investigation, and they're continuing to push this narrative. So again, that is happening. As I mentioned, we will definitely be coming back to talk about that situation. But the Nebraska lawmakers are also chiming up about what's going on in the Nebraska prisons. Apparently, prison leaders have failed to comply with certain mandates that will require Nebraska Department of Correctional Services to come up with a plan for a halfway back house, a structured environment for parole violators short of returning them to prison. But again, we know about the parole situation in Nebraska state prisons and how the parole board barely even shows up to the parole hearings. So one could assume that they probably don't want people to be getting out of prison. So and Nebraska's still in a federal overcrowding emergency. So there you go.
Yep.
And last but not least, the casino gaming situation in Nebraska, behind the bat on Iowa on that one. But Nebraska finally getting their own casinos and raking in the dough already. And more than $285,000 in revenue has come in from casino gaming in Nebraska. And that's in less than a month.
See?
Man, yeah. Again, behind the ball, but finally getting to the bag.
We'll be following the money. We'll be following the money on that though in the days to come, because I want to see who got that, who got that revenue.
Definitely. Again, the Native Americans. I'm not sure which tribe, but they're supposed to be a part of this, if I'm not mistaken.
We got to see who's got the revenue coming. That's the
follow the money.
Yep,
follow the money. But with that does it for our lightning round. Just in time. It's 10 o'clock. So yeah, Paul, you got anything for the people?
It's actually 9 o'clock, but who leaves in time? Yeah. Just one thing. Just want to make sure that you guys, all my brunch friends, because this is pretty huge for us, Benson Theater. Sunday brunch, you want to come and get that brunch. JoJo's gets down with the food. You already know that. Get your mimosa on and come and check out Messengers, which is one of my favorite groups in all of Nebraska. So Messengers and Sunday brunch sound good to me. Meet me there. Please check it out. Also, Josh Tagg is still talking about checking out some symphony action here on the 21st and 22nd. If you still have tickets for that, Josh Tagg, put it in the chat, put it in the Friends of First Sky Omaha. Definitely want to check that out. And of course, don't forget about the Red Velvet Curtain open mic that's happening Thursday. Happens every third Thursday. It's coming up this Thursday at 8 o'clock. Benson Theater. Get your poetry ready and get down. And for the rest of it, we'll have to save that for Friday. So thank you very, very much for everybody that's tuned in. We're gonna get out of here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Oh no, man, just nothing beyond just a big shout out to sister Kimara Snipes, sister Precious McKesson, the history making P, the dynamic duo for our Women's Wednesday. We definitely appreciate them for making Wednesdays just that much more special. And big shout out to all of you, the chat chimers, the ghost listeners, first time listeners, last time listeners, anybody who embarked on this journey, embarked on this experience with us. We definitely appreciate and love all of you. And with that, go ahead and catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. And, maybe even a special broadcast or two here and there. In the meantime, in between time, Paul B, take it away.
Hey, I just want to thank everybody that tuned in yesterday on that special broadcast. Really appreciate that. I want to just jump in the chat real quick. Hood Table JoJo's is in Benson. They got chicken and waffles, all kinds of stuff over there. You might want to check them out. Carolyn Jack says we missed you, Paul B3. So Pops was missed this last couple shows, and I'm glad that you're able to get the love back. We did miss you. Appreciate it. We know you had business to take care of on those days, and everybody was like, "Where's Pops? Let's check on him." So that's what's up. Appreciate you in the chat as well, Pops. He says, "Thank you for another fantastic show. Your dedication is inspiring. Love to the squad and fam. More routine doctor visits on Friday and Monday. So see you all next Wednesday." Okay. That's what's up. So I'm glad you're going. I'm glad you're going to the doctor and making it happen. That's what's going on.
Yeah. Like you said, Paul, don't wait.
Stacey Jean said, "Great show. I appreciate you guys. Thank you." The Hood Table says, "Thank you." Appreciate everybody that's jumping into the chat. And I appreciate all of y'all for sure. Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Really appreciate these conversations and everything that you bring as well. Also, thanks to the chat chimers that are in the background listening and spreading the word as well. We appreciate that. If you missed any parts of the show, go back to Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter and watch the show in its entirety. And do us a favor, spread the word, share the show. As many people in the room that we can have in these discussions, the better. Really appreciate that. Leia Keiser says, "Continue to appreciate you. You are what you all are doing. Appreciate you. Can't do it without you." So thank you so much, and thank you for being over on YouTube and doing that. Don't forget to drink your water and take care of yourselves every day. It's going down. We will be back on Friday. We got a special guest on Friday. As a matter of fact, we got a couple special guests on Friday. Do not forget, Blue Snitch is coming through on Friday on the show, y'all.
Pulling up. It's going to be a doozy.
gonna be a doozy. We also have somebody from the Big Brothers Big Sisters campaign that's happening as well to come out and do a plea. So big show on Friday. So definitely we'll see you there. We appreciate everybody to do us a favor and let everybody know it's going down. If you guys want to hear what's going on with Blue Snitch, come on through. I know that you know what's happening. She's on Twitter telling. We didn't even mention it today.
Man,
all this police corruption stuff that we've been talking about going on, but Blue Snitch was in the we'll talk about it Friday.
Spilling the beans, man. She's spilling the beans. That's a good point. We didn't even this whole conversation. I didn't even think about that whole element. So yeah, more and more to the whole corruption iceberg. Are we just at the tip? We'll see.
We'll see. You guys have a good one. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you Friday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red